Hi. So yes, we were talking about Giuseppe Mazzini, and so this is how it happened: the unification of his Italy, and then comes the unification of Germany. So in the 18th century, Germany was divided into number of states. Some of these states ceased to exist during the Napoleonic Wars. At the end of the war, there were still 39 independent states in Germany. Prussia was most powerful, dominated by big landlords known as Junkers. Now, nationalist feelings were widespread among middle class Germans who tried to unite the different regions of the German Federation into a nation state governed by the elected parliament. Understood? Nationalist feeling were widespread among middle class people who tried to unite different regions of the German Federation into a state governed by an elected parliament. In May 1848, large number of political associations came together to vote for an all German National Assembly. Their representatives met at Frankfurt, and Frankfurt Assembly proposed the unification of Germany as a constitutional monarchy under the King of Prussia as emperor. Why King of Prussia as an emperor? Because they were the big landlords and they had huge money. So that domination was still going on. The King of Prussia rejected the offer, and the liberal initiative of nation building was repressed by the combined forces of the monarchy, the military and the Junkers. They didn't want this liberation, so their power will go away. So then on, Prussia under its chief minister Otto von Bismarck led the movement for unification of Germany. Bismarck carried out this process with the help of Prussian army and the bureaucracy. He fought 3 wars over 7 years with Denmark, Austria and France. Prussia was victorious in all these wars, and process of unification was completed as a result of Prussia's victory over France. Consequently, on 18 January 1871, an assembly comprising of princes of German states, representatives of the army, important Prussian ministers and Bismarck gathered in a palace of Versailles and proclaimed the Prussian king, Kaiser William, the new German emperor. Okay, and after this only Versailles March took place, and these things happened. People went because they were wanting to bring down the price of bread. Now, visualization, if we want to visualize the nation, Marianne and Germania were both female allegories used by artists in the 19th century to represent the nation. Okay, so what are the points here when visualization of the nation, like what was the visualization going on, that we have to understand. What did people visualize and what did they how did it come out, what were the readings. So a story or a poem or a picture can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning typical of a moral political issue. That's called an allegories. Now what happened is, during this visualization, Marianne and Germania were both female allegories. They were writing used by artists. They were writings about some political information. The meaning was supposed to come out, the visualization, actually what was this scene about. So the scene is, in France she was named Marianne, a popular Christian name, which underlined the idea of people's nation. Her characteristics were drawn from those liberty and republic. So the painting says everything. The red cap, the tricolor, the cockade, statues of Marianne were erected in public squares as a national symbol of unity. Marianne images were marked on coins and stamps as well. Okay, so that is called an allegories. What do you say? Allegories. Allegories are this type of thing which gives us a story or a poem or a picture that can be interpreted to reveal the hidden meaning, what is there in it. Typically, a moral type information is going to give, or totally of a political issue. Okay. So this is how it happens. And what is a cockade? A cockade is a rosette or a knot of ribbons worn on the hat as a badge of office. Okay, it's a ribbon on the hat. When you see the people wearing a ribbon on the hat, so that says of or as a part of livery, what type of life you are leading. It used to determine during that time. So that's called a cockade on your hat or on your cap, on your hat. Actually, women used to wear hats at that time. So you must be having the picture also in your book, if I am not mistaken. I'll just check and I'll let you know. You must be also on the same page, I guess. Because I'm not with the book, I'm just directly with total information, and I don't see a cockade here. But anyways, we'll come back to it instead of wasting time. So this is what actually happened during that time. Okay, so then what happens in France? I told you she was named Marianne, a popular Christian name which underlined the idea of people's nation. Her characteristics were drawn from those of liberty and republic. The red cap, the tricolor, the cockade is that thing where the ribbon which is tied is used as a stamp of what type are you. Statues of Marianne were erected in public squares as a national symbol of unity, and Marianne images were marked on coins and stamps as well. So this was all about the visualization of that allegories. So instead of just having the idea of fatherland, they wanted to implant a suitable image in the minds of the people. Okay, they invariably chose the mother figure symbolizing nations, Britannia, Germania, and Marianne, reminding us of our concept of Matribhumi. Okay, that our motherland is India. So for them also they put up the female part of it to show the symbolization. They say the mother figure, the person who takes care. So then comes the liberty into it, and people come together. So Germania became the allegory of the German nation. Germania wears a crown of oak leaves, as a German oak stands for heroism, and it was hung from the ceiling of St. Paul's Church, where Frankfurt Parliament was convened to symbolize the liberal revolution. Okay, so this is still here. I'm going to tell you, and I can go into some more parts like the Napoleon Code. I'll just tell you the 7 points, but explanation I can give you later also. But anyways, let's do it. The Napoleonic Code. The Napoleonic Code, number one, the first major change was doing away with the privileges based on birth, establishing equality before the law and securing the right to property. Okay. Second one is administrative divisions were simplified, feudal system was abolished, and peasants were freed from serfdom and manorial dues, abuse of manorial lords. Okay. Now, what is serfdom? The meaning of serfdom also has a copy here, that abolished peasants, people used to dominate people. They used to use them. They used to say that, okay, you owe me so much of money, this is going to happen. The state of being a serf or a feudal laborer under someone, rich people's labor, you are the state of being a serf or a feudal labor. So this was part there also. And manorial dues, we can say manorial dues are the, they were said that you have taken so much of money, you have so much of dues. If you don't clear this dues, you are going to it's in England a land stated or a territorial unit, originally of the nature of a feudal lordship, consisting of lord's demands of land with which he was right to exercise certain privileges, extract certain fees. The main house or mansion of an estate plantation is called the manorial. So people working there, they used to say, "Arey, you have not worked for me properly, you have to give me more money, I am going to get more money from you." So these things used to happen during that time, the serfdom, feudal system. The manorial lords, they used to abuse. You have seen in the old Hindi movies also, these peasants, they go to this Mukhia, or they go to this Raja or something, they take money and they say, "I am working on your field, but no, this is give me your land property and all, you have not worked properly, you will not get money." So to misuse people's privileges. So that was cut down. Then in towns, guild restriction was removed. You cannot use guilds anymore. Transport, if you want to know the meaning of guild also, guild is they were used partly as what do you say, medieval association of craftsmen, of merchantmen, of having considerable power, mutual aid, or they had a common goal, so it's like that. Is all about the guild. The towns, in towns, guilds restriction. Okay, guild restriction, I'll give it to you in a much more it's all about craftsmen. So guild restriction is actually refers to certain restrictions imposed on the association in terms of trade or manufacturing. I told you it's all about traders. Like he removed guild restriction, allowed merchants, artisans to trade freely, that you didn't have any rule on top of it. You can charge whatever you want. Transport and communication systems were improved. Peasants, artisans, workers, and new businessmen enjoyed a newfound freedom. Businessmen and small-scale producers of goods in particular began to realize that uniform laws, standardized weights and measures, and a common national currency would facilitate the movement and exchange of goods and capital from one region to another. Okay, so this is the basic thing about the Napoleon. So whatever was happening good, and these are the things I guess we are also still following. That's what history says. History repeats itself, so it's like that. So I'll keep it till here. I'll meet you again tomorrow. Hope so, and I'll come back and I'll try to finish this, and I'm going to post it. I'll post all these things for you. Also, I'll post the solutions for you, so don't worry and you just study it. Okay. So guys, take care of yourself, respect your parents, and be good and have fun, and do whatever you want after you do your studies. Enjoy life and take care of yourselves. Be home and be safe. God bless. Bye.